Fire Escape Academy Inspector Training. Here we are in Chicago. We're behind the Travel Lodge on Harrison, and we're in the alleyway full of fire escapes here. We're just walking down to do a spot check of the fire escapes down here. And let's take a look at these two side-by-side fire escapes. First thing, must be painted every 3 years, and this looks like it hasn't been painted in that time frame, and it must be structurally sound. So we're looking for evidence of repair. So as we look up these fire escapes, one of the things we want to see is there any evidence of any repair on this fire escape. And you see a little bit of it on the treads. It looks like they swapped out all the treads and they put in hex head bolts on all the treads. So now you look at the other connections, such as supports and posts and cement, to see if there's anything that was done on that. So this fire escape does have evidence that they've been worked on the treads only so far, and it looks like the original hardware is still on the supports. I do see some evidence of some cement issue, but looks like the only thing they swapped out on this fire escape was just the treads. Let's take a look at the chain. See this chain here on the weight? When that weight comes down and goes into a horizontal position, because that fire escape goes all the way up, there is tremendous amount of force that yanks on that chain, and that's the improper place to put that chain. That chain is supposed to be independent on its own angle, and if you look on that fire escape back here, which I did a report on, not a report, I did a training on, it has its own independent chain on the back where the weight is. So whenever it has its own independent chain, the thing is balanced to drop 2 to 3 feet per second, hit the ground and stay down. This one, if that thing goes up and down too many times with that weight, it'll yank that staircase down, it'll yank that platform. So that is an improper balanced cantilever here on this fire escape. Looking up to see if there's any cement work. Looks like they have done a lot of the cement work here on the fire escape. It's a pretty tall fire escape. And it looks like the angle too, the stiffener, has not been reinforced with some bolting. Looks like it's just welded on, and those typically will pop off over time when they're just welded, because there's too much torque that happens on those cantilevers now that basically snap those angles off. So let's look over here on this one, and as you can see, another situation where we have an angle, a chain in the wrong place. This staircase is never made to take that much, and it's a very long staircase to begin with, but that chain was never made to be there, because any yanking, it'll tear this staircase down, tear the bolt, tear the bracket. It's undue. I mean, that area is not even reinforced to take so much weight. Let's see if it has a release arm on this thing. Has no release arm of any kind to let it drop at 2 to 3 feet per second. Looks like it still has a lot of the original hardware. If you look down here, you can see a lot of cement into the walls is not packed correctly. Let's look up and see painting. It looks like it's probably been painted in the past more than 3 years, but there's still some paint left on this thing. And we've got spalling cement here and spalling cement there. Original hardware. All the supports, all the angle supports on the rails are still original square head bolts. Those are 50 to 75 years old. Doesn't look like they've been swapped out or reinforced. And looking up on the fire escape itself, it looks like it still has the original square heads on the support. So a lot of these fire escapes that are 50 to 75 years old are supposed to have some maintenance. Let's take a look at this weight box, which looks like it's full of rust. And the bolts on it are the original square head bolts. So rust inside that has eaten the bolts, and yet if this thing wiggles too much, this thing can actually fall down onto the ground here. Okay, so any questions on this or any other fire escape that you've seen? The one key in to write a violation is the violation must be repair, paint, and test. Professional must look at it. We've got damage on the rail there from either a truck hit or something that fell upon it. But again, when you have the fire escape inspected by a professional, they'll identify all these things. Any questions, give us a call here at Fire Escape Engineers, 800-649-3333. And again, this is for Fire Escape Academy Inspector Training.